Welcome to Millennium TV 24. I am Kim Seabrook. Now let's take a good look in today's news and see what's going on in New York City. And what we have, the Crips gang leader sentenced to life in Brooklyn, hookah lounge slaying. A notorious Crips gang leader will spend the rest of his life in prison for murdering a rival execution style inside a Brooklyn hookah lounge 6 years ago, prosecutors said just Thursday. Larry Paget, the East Coast leader of the 8-Trey Crips gang, received a life sentence in the 2015 slaying of Crispin Phillip, who was gunned down inside the Buddha Hookah Lounge in Prospect Lefferts Garden. Paget was convicted of murder in aid of racketeering in October 2018. Prosecutors said that the victim was a gangbanger from a rival folk nation set. The gang boss has suspected Phillip of killing an 8-Trey member in Trinidad in the spring of 2015, then encountered him at the club in August of that year, prosecutors charged. Paget pulled a gun, shot Phillip several times, then ended his life with a single shot to the back of his head. Larry Paget will deservedly spend the rest of his life behind bars for brazenly committing an execution-style, gang-related murder inside a lounge in Brooklyn, acting U.S. Attorney Jacqueline Casalou said in a statement. The 8-Trey Crips, which operated out of the Flatbush Garden housing complex, have been locked in a deadly beef with Folk Nation prior to Phillip's slaying. Jurors at the trial were shown graphic video footage of the shooting, which captured Paget firing shots at Phillip before falling over, then pulling himself up and walking out the door. Phillip's dead body could be seen briefly on the floor as revealers scrambled inside club to escape the mayhem. And what else we have in New York? Unfortunately, a woman pushing stroller was fatally struck by a truck in New York City. A 40-year-old woman pushing a stroller across the street in Queens was struck and killed by an unlicensed truck driver Thursday morning, police sources stated. The woman was in the crosswalk with the 18-month-old baby on the Cross Island Service Road near 150th Street in Whitestone shortly before 11:30 a.m. when she was just hit. She was taken to New York Presbyterian Queens Hospital, where she was pronounced dead, the sources said. The child was taken to Long Island Jewish Medical Center with minor injuries and is expected to recover. The driver of the truck, identified by sources as Angelo Grassi, 43, remained at the scene. He was charged with aggravated unlicensed operation of a vehicle and failure to yield. And that's unfortunately the news that we have to start off with. But what else? Transgender woman stabbed with screwdriver on New York City subway. A 27-year-old transgender woman was stabbed with a screwdriver during a dispute at a lower Manhattan subway station. Police said on Thursday that the victim was on a Brooklyn-bound A train at the Fulton Street station shortly before 12:30 p.m. Wednesday when they was confronted by his attacker, according to the cops. "What are you looking at, you F?" the suspect said, looking at the victim. The two got into an argument during which the victim used pepper spray to fend off her attacker, who stabbed her with a screwdriver. The suspect fled and remains on the loose, police said. Our victim was hit with a screwdriver in the head and the leg. NYPD Chief of Department Rodney Harrison said, "Somehow our perpetrator got away, but we're once again doing a video canvass trying to identify the perpetrator." Harrison was speaking at an unrelated press conference with other top brass and the Gay Officers Action League to announce diversity measures for LGBTQ officers. The chief said Wednesday's attack is being investigated by the Hate Crimes Task Force. The victim was taken to New York Presbyterian Lower Manhattan Hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries, police stated. And else is going on in New York. This is very interesting. Rent increase in effect for New York's rent stabilized units come October. Tenants of New York City's 1 million rent stabilized apartments will see a rise in their rent this fall, despite concerns from tenant groups that COVID-related hardships are making those units unaffordable. During its Wednesday night virtual meeting, the City Rent Guidelines Board approved a rent increase of 1.5% for one-year leases and 2% increase for two-year leases in rent-stabilized apartments. The decision, which passed via a 5-4 vote, will go into effect this October. Additionally, the board agreed to a 6-month rent freeze on 1-year leases in rent-stabilized apartments to allow tenants to recover from financial setbacks during the pandemic. Board member Alex Schwartz proposed that stipulation, citing that despite New York City's progress in leveling its unemployment rate over the past year, that the city and its residents are still facing economic fallout from the pandemic. Despite a downturn in unemployment from May 2020 to May 2021, from 20% to 11%, roughly 15% of Bronx residents are still unemployed. That's according to Schwartz. And New York City has suffered over the past 15 or so months, and New York's job loss as a percent of the total employment during the first year of the pandemic was more than twice the national decline, he said. As a result of employment and income loss, it's estimated that about 20% or more of all renters fell behind at some point. So the application portal for the state's emergency rental assistance program opened on June 1st. The relief program comes from $2.4 billion in funding from the most recent federal stimulus package and was approved by the state legislature in April. However, New York is one of the last states in the nation to roll out its rent relief program. On Wednesday, tenant advocacy groups pushed for a second rent freeze on all rent, noting that the pandemic's effect on tenants' working situation and the rollout of the state's rent relief programs are still uncertain. Get that money. It's available. They are helping people, so please find some resources if you are behind in your rent. It is available for you to apply. Next, hate group tag found on vandalized George Floyd statue in Brooklyn. They just don't want us to have nothing. A statue of George Floyd that was unveiled in Brooklyn over the weekend was found vandalized by a far-right extremist group on Thursday morning, according to police. The 11-foot monument, which was unveiled with a Juneteenth celebration on Saturday, was found spray painted around 7:20 a.m., police said. Floyd's face and the words of the statue's 5-foot pedestal were painted over in black, and the words PatriotFront.US were painted in the white on the pedestal. A racist, loathsome, despicable act of hate, Mayor de Blasio called the vandalism. We will bring these cowards to justice. The phrase painted on the statue is the website for Patriot Front, a white nationalist hate group created in the aftermath of the Unite the Right rally in Virginia in 2017, according to Southern Poverty Law Center. The city's cleanup corps were repairing the statue on Thursday afternoon. There were no arrests for the vandalism as of Thursday afternoon, but the NYPD's Hate Crime Task Force is investigating the incident. The vandalism is not the first signs of the hate group that had popped up in Brooklyn. Last year, flyers from the white nationalist group were seen posted in Bay Ridge and Park Slope, spurring Brooklynites to rally against the propaganda. And that's New York for you. But next, we have New York City to set aside parking spots for electric vehicle charging. New York City will remove 100 parking spots in the coming months. We don't have parking as it is. Now they put the bikes there, and now we have electrical charging ports to go. But here we go. To make way for charging stations for electric cars, officials said on Thursday. The city plans to install the curbside charging stations by October as part of a 4-year demonstration intended to encourage and facilitate electric vehicle adoption, the Department of Transportation said in a press release. And with sales of EVs at record levels, now is the time to develop a robust, convenient, and publicly accessible charging network so that more New Yorkers can go electric, DOT Commissioner Hank Gutman stated. Parking in the 100 charging spots will be entirely restricted to electric vehicles, DOT said. Drivers will pay $2.50 per hour to charge between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. and $1 per hour overnight, with the power supplied by Con Ed via a contract with EV charging company Flow. New York City's 15,000 electric vehicle owners currently have access to 1,400 level 2 plugs, which provide 80% charge in 4 to 8 hours, and another 117 that provide 80% charge in under an hour. And that's according to the city figures. but the new charges will be off the slower Level 2 variety, officials said, and will match the look and feel of New York City's family of street furniture. Much of the city's existing charging infrastructure remains concentrated in Manhattan, something city officials hope to change by installing ports in 20 neighborhoods across the 5 boroughs. The first of the new stations went in Thursday in the Bronx. Most Bronxites cannot choose to purchase electric vehicles because of a lack of infrastructure, Bronx Councilman Eric Dinowitz said in a statement. But DOT initially planned to roll out the charging ports in spring 2020. But of course, due to COVID-19, there was a delay. And there are over 3 million parking spots in New York City, according to city estimates. And we need a lot more. Next, in Brooklyn residents say video proves sanitation workers issued false tickets for garbage on sidewalks. Williamsburg resident Abe Lichtenstein, who couldn't believe his eyes earlier this month. He said a New York City Department of Sanitation worker parked outside his home on Hayward Street and minutes later got out of the vehicle, walked by his barren sidewalk and driveway, and left a summons outside his door for a large accumulation of scattered bottles, cups, paper bags, pieces of paper on sidewalk. I came out of my house and I looked at the sidewalk and I looked at the gate and I see nothing, not even a toothpick, Lichtenstein said. And so how can this happen that I got a summons? Abe Rutner lives in the same neighborhood and asks himself the same question. But look at this, they had surveillance videos. From 2017, it also captured a sanitation car pulling up to the clean sidewalk in front of his home before a worker left the summons and walked down the street. Eventually, that summons was dismissed, but it left Rutner wondering why this is still happening. It has to be stopped. It cannot happen that a city official abuse their power, he said. Not everybody is going to go and fight them, and that is basically a word against a word. And if you don't have proof, nothing happens. And City Council member Calvin Yeager recently sponsored both state and city legislation that would require all city agencies issuing summonses to provide photos to document violations. Good idea. Photos are not required currently, but the Department of Sanitation told Ross that any agent found to write a ticket for false conditions is disciplined and receives a refresher training. A sanitation spokesperson said all New Yorkers have a right to clean, safe streets, and the Department of Sanitation relies on the great work on our agents for enforcement. The spokesperson said enforcement agencies do not have ticket quotas. Liechtenstein, if they don't have ticket quotas, then why would they just go and absolutely do that to somebody? I don't understand. But he said in integrity that it matters. I'm trying to rule out any city worker that's not by the law. And as for his case, the sanitation department said is continuing to look into and noted the video may not tell the full story. Yeager and Felder said that they try to work with sanitation officials on cases like Liechtenstein's to improve the system, but said conversations have been empty. Next, Rudy Giuliani's law license is suspended over false claims of fraud in Georgia election. New York's highest court Thursday suspended the law license of Rudy Giuliani, former President Donald Trump's personal lawyer, in large part because of false statements Giuliani made about last year Georgia's election results. The Appellate Division of the New York Supreme Court ruled that Giuliani, a former U.S. attorney and ex-New York City mayor, communicated demonstrably false and misleading statements to courts, lawmakers, and the public at large in the capacity as lawyer for former President Donald J. Trump and the Trump campaign in connection with Trump's failed effort at re-election in 2020. Giuliani's efforts on behalf of Trump included 2 appearances at the Georgia Capitol early last December, and 1 in person and 1 virtual, where he rolled out witnesses and experts involved to a lawsuit to overturn election results that saw Democrat Joe Biden carry Georgia by 11,779 votes. Witnesses claimed that Georgia's voting machines potentially switched thousands of votes in favor of Biden, while lawyers for Giuliani unveiled the surveillance video they claimed showed ballot counting irregularities at State Farm Arena in Atlanta. Giuliani's team also pressed state lawmakers to appoint electors to the Electoral College, who would cast Georgia's 16 votes in Trump's favor. The Peach State electors met later in December and ratified Biden's narrow win at the polls with their votes. Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger praised Thursday's ruling as a further demonstration of the arguments he made discounting the fraud charges while they were swirling. The judges recognized that the baseless conspiracy theories Giuliani repeated were not true and punished him for spreading lies, particularly about Georgia's election. This decision backs up my own statements about Georgia's elections being fair and accurate. The court ruling came in response to a complaint against Giuliani filed by the New York Bar Association, and the suspension is interim, which gives him a chance to appeal for reinstatement. And next in world news, Lubbock's Catholic Cathedral finds $250,000 missing. FBI finds embezzlement suspect in Colombia. Matter of fact, what we're going to do is actually go into a break, and then I'll come back with this story. Kim Seabrook, M24 News. Be right back.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV. Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
TV 24, I am Kim Seabrook. So let's take a good look in world news. I'm going to go back and start with this next story so everybody is on the same page. Lubbock's Catholic Cathedral finds $250,000 missing. FBI finds embezzlement suspects in Colombia. A man who allegedly stole more than $250,000 from Lubbock's Christ the King Cathedral has been located in Colombia, and U.S. officials are seeking his return. The suspect managed the cathedral's donation and its Venmo and PayPal accounts. The cathedral rector was not implicated in the theft but resigned after its discovery. Nathan Allen Webb, a cathedral parishioner, had assumed responsibilities at the cathedral that included managing donations and paying bills in August 2019. And that's according to Everything Lubbock. In March 2021, a lawyer for the Diocese of Lubbock reported that Webb was engaged in a fraud scheme to embezzle money from the cathedral, the FBI criminal complaint said. Webb faces charges of wire fraud. Federal officials have asked the Colombian government to detain him through Interpol. Webb was embezzling thousands of dollars each month by making unauthorized transfers of money from Christ the King's Venmo's account to his personal Venmo account. And again, that was according to the FBI criminal complaint. During at least part of this time, Webb was in South America. According to the FBI complaint, Freer Oglee confronted Webb on March 3rd. Evidence suggests that Webb closed his PayPal account on the same day. An arrest warrant was issued for Webb on June 10th. Webb's father had assured the FBI that he would fly to Florida and submit himself for arrest. Though he was scheduled to fly from Cartagena, Colombia to Fort Lauderdale, Florida on June 14th, he did not board the plane. Prosecutors have taken all steps to have Webb detained. And I guess we'll follow up with that story soon. But next in Haiti, gang leader launches revolution as violence escalates. One of Haiti's most powerful gang leaders warned this week he was launching a revolution against the country's business and political alike, signaling a likely further escalation of violence in the impoverished Caribbean nation. Violence has spiked in Haiti's. Oh God, it went all the way up. Sorry, guys. My story disappeared on me. And so we're going to go back to Haiti. I don't know what happened. This is Kim Seabrook. We have to go on a quick break. We'll be right back with world news and get back to that story. Thank you. Go on a break. Sorry. I guess we're not going to go on a break. So you're going to just stay here and give me a second to regroup and get this story. This is what happens. Electronic devices. Yep. My story just disappeared on me. But we're going to get it together. We are going to get it together.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV. Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV. Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Sorry about that, but let's go back into the story with Jimmy Chirizia. Alias Barbecue, a former police officer, heads the so-called G9 Federation of 9 gangs formed last year, and this is the story on Haiti. Surrounded by gang members wielding machetes and guns, he gave a statement to local media outlets at the slum of La Saline on Wednesday, saying the G9 had become a revolutionary force to deliver Haiti from the opposition, the government. Human rights activist says Chirizia is actually not targeting the government, but the opposition. The government has not publicly commented on his statements and was not immediately available for comment. A suspect in several massacres of citizens in recent years, among other crimes for which he was sanctioned late last year by the United States. Chirizia depicts himself as a community leader, filling the void left by weak institutions. Chirizia said his gang members sparked the looting at multiple stores in Port-au-Prince last week, and the broader population followed suit because they were hungry. It is your money, which is in banks, stores, supermarkets, and dealerships, so go and get what is rightfully yours, he said in comments that went viral on social media in Haiti. And armed groups have become increasingly powerful in Haiti in the recent years due to political unrest, growing poverty, and a sense of impunity, says right organizations such as the nonprofit Center for Human Rights Analysis and Research. The presidential and legislative elections slated for later this year could be a factor in a recent uptick in violence committed by gangs often linked to local politicians, they said. Haiti's police are not equipped to deal with gang members who have acquired ever more sophisticated weapons, partly financed by kidnappings for ransom. Many officers have died in confrontations with armed bandits in recent months, including one in a fight with Shavizia just last weekend. And according to the police, that is what's going on in Haiti. So next, Prime Minister resigns after election results revealed. Tebboune has accepted the resignation of the government led by Abdelaziz Girard, appointing him as caretaker premier until a new cabinet is formed. And that was Algerian presidency. Girard's resignation follows the parliamentary elections from June 12th, marked by a low turnout and no majority winner after 2 years marred by mass protest and turmoil. The vote was boycotted by the Hirak protest movement, and the turnout was the lowest ever recorded in an Algerian election at just 23%. Algeria's biggest political party, the National Liberation Front, was the winner of the general election, gaining 98 seats in the 407-seat parliament. The FLN, which emerged from Algeria's long struggle for independence from France in 1962 and was the country's only party until the first multi-party elections into 1990. They witnessed a better result than was actually expected. But the party of longtime President Bouteflika had been stagnant after the president resigned under pressure from the army following weeks of the Hirak protests in early 2019. The president must begin negotiations with the leader of the winning parties to nominate a new prime minister after receiving the resignation of the government, according to the Algerian constitution. The military-ruled establishment believes replacing the parliament and constitution is the best way to end the country's biggest crisis in 10 years, while the Hirak protest movement is demanding an uprooting of the entire system. Next, Senator Tom Cotton blames Biden for badly behaved airline passengers because of the stupid mask mandate. Senator Tom Cotton has blamed Joe Biden for badly behaved airline passengers because of the stupid mask mandate. Airlines have seen an unprecedented amount of unruly behavior in passengers in 2021, with more than 2,900 incidents already this year. And the Federal Aviation Administration says that 2/3 of those incidents have been caused by face mask issues. Well, I'm going to make a statement. Someone just also stated that they were online waiting to check their bags or get their tickets. They're 6 feet apart. They had their mask on. Then when they get on the plane, they're literally sitting next to each other. They're eating. There's no mask on. So where is the common sense in this thing here, right? But let's move on. Now the Republican lawmaker from Arkansas has criticized the Biden administration and accused the White House of exasperating the issue. I've personally seen so many flight attendants set up for failure by the Biden administration, he claimed. They usually don't want to boss around their passengers or kick them off on an airplane and cause a scene that will go viral on social media. But they're also told that they have to enforce the stupid mask mandate. And he claimed that there was no scientific evidence behind the mask mandate. It is all for no good reason. It would be one thing if there was certified evidence that suggested that masks in airports or on airplanes or buses or trains actually slow down the spread of the virus among the unvaccinated, but that is not the case. The Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, cannot defend the mandate on its merits. He doesn't even try. Flight attendants are charged with the safety, health, and security of everyone in the cabin. Our instructions to the traveling public: keep everyone safe. Everyone wants to have the freedom of flight. Listen up and do your part. We're truly all in this together. The agency says that between 2010 and 2020, it dealt with reports of just 1,548 misbehaving passengers. And next, in health, fibromyalgia is one of many chronic conditions that remain stubbornly difficult to treat. As the ravages of the opioid epidemic led many to avoid these powerful painkillers, a significant number of people with fibromyalgia are finding an effective replacement in CBD-containing products, finds a new Michigan medicine study. CBD, short for cannabidiol, is the second most common cannabinoid in the cannabis plant and has been marketed from everything to mood stabilization to pain relief without the intoxicating effects produced by the most common cannabinoid, THC. THC, which stands for Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol, is the ingredient in marijuana that causes people to feel high. But the cannabis industry has exploded, aided by the legalization of medical and recreational marijuana in states around the United States and the removal of hemp-derived CBD from Schedule I status reserved for drugs with no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse at the federal level. Previous research shows that some people substitute medical cannabis, often with high concentration of THC, for opioids and other pain medications, and that's reporting that cannabis provides better pain relief and fewer side effects. However, there is far less data on CBD use. CBD is less harmful than THC, and it is non-intoxicating and has less potential for abuse. And that was by PhD Kevin Bowick. He's a research investigator in the Department of Anesthesiology and the Chronic Pain and Fatigue Research Center. If people can find the same relief without THC side effects, CBD may represent a useful as a harm reduction strategy. Bonk and his team surveyed people with fibromyalgia about their use of CBD for treatment of chronic pain. Fibromyalgia is not easy to treat, often involving several medications with significant side effects and modest benefits. Further, many alternative therapies like acupuncture and massage are not covered by insurance. So clinically, opening up lines for discussion around CBD use for chronic pain is imperative. And again, that was stated by Bowick, as well as for enhancing the therapeutic alliance and improving patient care. CBD is very, very, very good. And again, don't get the side effects that you get if you were to get something that has THC in it, and also the other medications with the pain relievers and things like that. So I would definitely say do your research. But next we have dopamine may help explain the gender differences in key motivating factors and autism. Dopamine is often called the happy or feel-good hormone. It can help explain both autistic behaviors and men's needs for passion in order to succeed. Men, more often than women, need passion to succeed at things. At the same time, boys are diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum 4 times as often as girls. Both statistics may be related to dopamine, one of our body's neurotransmitters. But what we're going to do is go into a break, and I'm going to go back into the story. I'm Kim Seabrook. You're watching Millennium TV 24. We will be right back.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV. Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV. Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
And welcome back, and let's continue to take a good look in our news. And I'm in the health subject, and I want to continue with this. Let's go. The study refers to these qualities as passion, grit, and mindset. The researchers also applied theories to possible links with dopamine levels. Dopamine is linked to learning, attention, and our ability to focus. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that is released in the brain. It can contribute to a feeling of satisfaction. Men normally secrete more dopamine, which is often called the happy hormone, but it plays a far more complex role than that. The effects of dopamine are linked to learning, attention, and our ability to focus. Previous studies on Iceland students have shown that men are more dependent on passion in order to succeed at something. The study confirms the earlier findings. Men require more passion. In 6 out of 8 test questions, men score higher on passion than women. That's very interesting. In the past, the dopamine system has been associated with many different conditions, such as ADHD, psychosis, manias, and Parkinson's disease. But it may also be related to a certain form of autistic behavior. Some individuals with autism may become very interested in certain topics, which can be a bit unusual or even strange for most people. People on the autism spectrum can focus intensely on these topics or pursuits, at least for a while. Dopamine may play a role in that behavior. And next, workers' mental health vulnerable to bad management. Study finds a new Australian study has found that full-time workers are 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with depression if their workplace has poor management practices. This is so accurate. It's not even just that, it's also the long hours. If you have a few less hours in your day to work on something, and then you can come back and work and be refreshed, it's just so much to it. But let me go into the story. Dr. Amy Zato from the University of South Australia Psychological Safety Climate Observatory is the lead author of a 12-month study that has traced poor workplace mental health to poor management practices. The registered psychologist explained that the priorities and values of an organization's management, otherwise known as psychosocial safety climate, that's PSC. It can flow through to high job demands and low resources with real and negative consequences for employees. In the case of a full-time employee's likelihood of being diagnosed with depression, the risk factor jumps by 300%. Evidence shows that companies who fail to reward or acknowledge their employees for hard work impose unreasonable demands on workers and do not give them the autonomy and are placing their staff at a much greater risk of depression. Worldwide, the global burden of depression affects an estimated 300 million people, and more research is underway to try and understand how bad work environments are contributing to that problem. In economic terms, the high incidence of depression in the workplace manifests in absenteeism, poor work engagement, and low productivity. The Australian study also identified that working long hours was often a habit of valued workers who showed enthusiasm and commitment. But men in particular were more likely to become depressed if the workplace did not pay attention to the psychological health of its workers. High levels of workers' burnout are extremely costly to organizations, and it's clear that the top-level organizational change is definitely needed to address this issue. So we could go on and on with that story. But let's move forward into entertainment news. Kanye West sues Walmart over knockoff Yeezys. They claim he could be losing hundreds of millions of dollars. In a report, Ye and his Yeezy company are accusing Walmart of not only selling rip-offs of his shoes, but the discount department conglomerate is also being held accountable for confusing customers regarding the authenticity of their Summer Beach Shoes foam runner, and opposed to Kanye's Yeezy's foam runner. The GOOD music founder also claims that because of Walmart sales on his knockoff shoe, he could be losing millions of dollars. According to the retail giant, the footwear is sold by a third party, not Walmart. The product referenced in the complaint is not sold by Walmart, but rather by third-party marketplace sellers. They said, "We take allegations like this seriously and are reviewing the claim. We will respond in court as appropriate after we have been served with the complaint." Kanye West Yeezy's foam runners retail between $75 to $80. Meanwhile, Walmart's are less than $25. Kanye claims that the company made an unauthorized exact copy and has been selling it for a significantly lower price so they can profit off of the rapper and his popularized shoe. Kanye additionally claims that he sent a legal warning to Walmart to stop them from selling their version of his shoe, but they have yet to do so. And on another note, this isn't the first time Walmart has been accused of copying something belonging to a rapper. Last June, the company was called out for selling fake versions of Lil Baby's 4PF chain, which is the abbreviation for his record label, 4 Pockets Full Inc. Interestingly, this is Ye's second dispute with Walmart in recent months. Back in April, the billion-dollar corporation filed a complaint with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, accusing Kanye of creating his Yeezy logo to be similar to theirs. Interesting. I just think they have something personal against each other. But next, Bob Marley's family is launching a line of shrooms. Bob Marley's family is officially entering the shroom space. Though the late musician's family already has his Marley natural weed line, Marley One is now the first celebrity brand to sell magic mushrooms wherever they are legal. But according to a press release from collaborators, Silo Wellness, Marley One doesn't just have tinctures that induce a psychedelic experience. Bob Marley's family is officially entering the shroom space. Though the late musician's family already has its Marley natural weed line, Marley One is now the first celebrity brand to sell magic mushrooms wherever they are legal. But according to a press release from collaborators, Silo Wellness, Marley One doesn't just have tinctures that induce a psychedelic experience. But maybe now's the time to try shrooms. After all, the line additionally carries non-psychoactive functional mushrooms, which use adaptogenic mushrooms that highlight the brand's connection to Jamaica, and provides a variety of health benefits by helping the body resist biochemical stressors. And even better, Marley One is also planning on offering shroom gummies, capsules, and cosmetics very soon. We know Bob will be very proud of what we're building, as Marley's widow Rita explained. Our family has always revered the ancient history and transformative potential of nature's gifts. So last but not least, I always like to try to end it with some community info, especially what's going on for the weekend. Today is Friday, and tomorrow we have Saturday morning starting at 9:20 a.m. until 2 p.m. is a virtual event. So what I would love for you to do is join Kiana Williams of Goddess Media, but also a whole panel of super boss ladies for the Women in the Black, Who's the Boss Level Up Conference. Now, Kiana Williams' panel is titled The Unapologetic Entrepreneur, Make Working for Yourself Work, Focused and Motivated. Now, her panel starts at 10:35, and the lineup for the entire day is dynamic and powerful. The event is designed to unite businesswomen and offer inspiration and insight in various areas. There will be also a live networking event at the Cove Lounge. If you do want more information, just email harlemnewsinc@aol.com. Again, that's tomorrow. I want you ladies to tune in so you can understand what it is to start a business and how hard it is. You keep going. They're just going to give you some insight, some information, and everything you need to know on what it is to be a woman in business and an entrepreneur. My name is Kim Seabrook. You are watching Millennium TV 24. I thank you for tuning in. We will see you next time. Have a good night.